Ladies and gentlemen, Barry C here with another cryptocurrency video. And ladies and gents, XRP is going to get really expensive a lot sooner than people realize. And I want to highlight a couple of things because there's a lot of lessons that we can learn on a much smaller scale before XRP goes parabolic, before it becomes extremely expensive. I'm talking $1,000 per XRP, $10,000, maybe 50,000, maybe more. Not financial advice, of course, but the potential and future possibility when it comes to XRP, seeing mass adoption, that is becoming more and more a likelihood every day that goes by. And the mistakes that people are making on a much smaller level when it comes to XRP are going to be the mistakes they make on a much larger scale. That means they're missing out on one of the greatest digital asset opportunities of a lifetime. Now, ladies and gents, if you cast your mind back to 2017, the entry point in the XRP was 0.006 cents a coin, less than 1 cent. And the main negative narrative back then was it was a banker's coin and people didn't want a blockchain or a crypto that was tied to banks. And then, of course, in 2018, XRP skyrocketed above $3 a coin. It was one of the biggest gainers in all of what later became the first alt season. And it skyrocketed so crazily that it flipped both Ethereum and Bitcoin. Now, of course, 1 cent a coin and $3 a coin for XRP is a lot more palatable than $300 or $3,000 per XRP. But the reality is, for the majority of people, they didn't get in at less than 1 cent. They started to become interested at $3. So that's over 300x. Then, of course, people had from 2018 until 2020 to buy XRP at 10 cents, 15 cents, 19 cents. And then, of course, we go into the next bull run / alt season, and XRP goes as high as $1.80. And the only reason it stopped there was because of the Ripple versus SEC lawsuit. It took major exchanges around the world delisting XRP because of legal uncertainty. It took a lawsuit to stop XRP in its tracks. And then, of course, the lawsuit was resolved, dismissed. XRP was deemed not a security. It has complete legal clarity. And then, of course, people had from 30 cents to 50 cents years and years and years to buy XRP quite cheaply. And then, of course, we get to November of 2024, and now it's $2, $2.50, $2.60, $2.70. It's $3 by early 2025. That is another really big mistake if people missed out on that, and a lot of people did. A lot of people sidelined themselves. A lot of people said to themselves, well, I'll wait until it starts skyrocketing. And here's the thing, when you make these mistakes with prices like 30 cents per XRP, even $3 per XRP, that's way more palatable than if you were to say, hey, XRP has just gone to $1,000. And that's the price it now exists until banks stop utilizing cryptocurrency. That's the reality a lot of people are going to be facing a lot sooner than they anticipate. You know, even for me, like I initially thought that, look, it's going to take probably 5-10 years for XRP to reach prices like $1,000, $10,000, maybe more. But with the crypto pro sentiment of the Trump administration, with all the legislation that's being passed, with all the Ripple partnerships, with the XRP ETFs being successfully launched, and the demand for institutional money wanting XRP directly, we are going to get to mass adoption a lot sooner than 5 to 10 years. And the reason why I'm highlighting all of this is that the mistakes that people are making from a retail investing point of view and the mistakes that people are making on a much smaller scale, these mistakes aren't going to magically disappear when the price of XRP becomes more expensive. If anything, the majority of people who are in crypto now, and the majority of people who have sidelined themselves, or the majority of people who don't even consider XRP a viable option, these are the people that are all going to fumble the XRP opportunity. Because institutional money is smart enough to get in now before things go parabolic. These are institutions and people that have the resources, the finances, the experience, the insider knowledge, and they have time. and they have the resources to be devoid of emotion. They're not like the retail investors who people are taking their hard-earned money and they are taking a calculated risk on cryptocurrencies. And for the most part, especially when it comes to XRP, they get in and they impose these timeframes, these expectations onto a digital asset. And when it doesn't happen quick enough, they make so people
Rash decisions.
discover XRP. And this could be said for most other cryptos, but let's use XRP as an example. They discover XRP. They see the value in XRP. They can see the potential of XRP. They take a chance on it. But then when things don't play out as quickly as I hoped it would, then a lot of people either sideline themselves, they get frustrated, they sell, they swap into another crypto, they see other cryptos pump and they go, why not XRP? A lot of people aren't willing to wait 4 years, 10 years or more for a life-changing result. But then, interestingly enough, they look at something like Bitcoin and they go, oh, wow, like I would love to have gotten a Bitcoin at $1,000 or less. It's like, no, you wouldn't. Absolutely not. You can barely wait 4 or 5 years or more for XRP to do anything. Like imagine the same thing. You're buying Bitcoin at $330 or $500 or $1,000. And then, you know, you wouldn't have waited till now where it goes above over 100,000, you would have sold. But unfortunately, sometimes it takes time. But then no other asset class moves as quickly as crypto does. Now, you've also got to consider this notion that XRP is designed for something well beyond the 4-year cycle that we tend to know and experience and live in, which is Bitcoin halving event, post-halving bull run, second leg up of the bull run, which is the alt season, then 3.5 years of a bear market, Bitcoin halving event, and then about 4 years in is when you get another alt season. So minimally, you're going to have to wait at least 4 years between alt seasons. That's just the way the market plays out. Then here's XRP, designed for mass adoption. And so once banks and financial institutions get that green light to adopt blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies, they are going to turn to the one crypto that they have trialed since 2017, the crypto that's designed for that mass adoption. That crypto is XRP. And once banks and financial institutions utilize it, that's it. That's just the way they conduct finance from now on. It's not, oh, XRP goes up for a month, then dips for 4 years and goes up again. There's no more 4-year cycle with XRP. It'll skyrocket up, and then it will just exist in the financial framework. As long as banks utilize XRP, and as long as banks utilize cryptocurrencies, that's how long XRP will be expensive. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. And so unfortunately what happens is that people will buy into something like XRP. They'll see the value, they'll see the potential, but then like a week later it hasn't done 1,000x and suddenly they're frustrated. And I see that frustration right now. And look, you're listening to someone who is right there with you. I would love XRP to be $1,000 tomorrow. Not saying it will, not financial advice, but I get the frustration. I've been there. I've been in crypto since 2016. I've waited and waited and waited and waited. I've been waiting from less than 1 cent a coin for XRP to see mass adoption. I get it. I get the frustration. I get the annoyance. I get the feeling of, well, it is holders fatigue. You get fatigued because you see the potential, you see the partnerships, you see where XRP could solve so many problems when it comes to the financial sector. And it just doesn't quite eventuate as quick as you hope it would. And that's unfortunately why we have to be as smart, if not smarter, than the institutions who are adopting XRP and adopting blockchain technology and allowing access to the wealthiest of wealthy individuals who are utilizing these institutions to acquire these digital assets, because they don't have the same emotional investment. They see an opportunity, they accumulate, and they're willing to hold. And we have to be the same way. Not financial advice, of course, ladies and gents. This is just As stated at the start of the video, we are seeing a lot of people make a lot of mistakes on a much more microscopic level versus where the market's going to go. And it's important to understand these mistakes so that we can learn, we can grow, we can evolve, we can rise above. Because there's going to become a point where XRP becomes extremely expensive. And that's going to happen a lot sooner than people anticipate. And we can't be shaken out. We can't make the same mistakes people are making when XRP is at $2 or $3. Because those are the mistakes we'll be making at $1,000 or $3,000. And unfortunately, once we make those mistakes at the $1,000 or $3,000 or $10,000 point, we may not get another opportunity to buy XRP in the single digits ever again, let alone double digits. And ladies and gents, of course, not financial advice. It's just the perspective of someone who's been in crypto for quite some time. I've made my mistakes. I've had to learn from those mistakes. And that's why I make this content every day, to help each and every one of you see what I've done. And hopefully you learn. And as I said, ladies and gents, not financial advice. Just doing my best to share with you what I'm doing so that we can all be in the best position possible for when XRP starts going parabolic. And ladies and gents, just once again, not financial advice. If you have enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And if you're curious about the other cryptos I hold outside of XRP, consider becoming a Patreon. Click the link in the description below, head across to my Patreon page, and consider becoming a Barry C VIP. They'll have access to all the cryptos I hold, my portfolios, as well as my buy, sell, and take profit signals in real time.